All right. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the LD11 June meeting. Want to welcome all you guys to coming out to join us. If we haven't met, I am Patrick Brown. I'm the chair of LD11, and so yeah, we got a lot of good stuff going on tonight. So we'll just kind of get into things and go from there. All right. If this is your first meeting, like I said, we have some kind of meeting norms for this like virtual environment in which we do our stuff with. If this is like your 100th or 1000th meeting, then you know all this stuff. But like I said, it's always good to do a little bit of review. So first things first. Like I said, if you have your camera on or off during the meeting, that's your business. That's fine. No troubles there. However, if you are recognized to speak, please turn on your camera. We like to be able to see who's speaking or who's saying stuff during the meeting. Second of all, please make sure that you're muted. As many of you guys have come into the meeting, you guys are already muted, but just go ahead and stay on that mute button. We don't want to hear any background. I know the NBA finals are over, so we won't hear people like cheering in the background like one meeting, like when the Suns are playing. So but like I said, just go ahead and keep that muted. If you have any comments or questions, please put that in the chat. Myself, the board will be monitoring the chat for any questions or comments, and either it'll get answered right in the chat, or we'll recognize you can ask the question, or we'll just do it in front of the whole body here. All right. If you're the type of person who likes to follow along at home, we do have the agenda here. Don't feel the need to try and copy this down really quickly. We'll go ahead and drop that in the chat here in just a moment, and you'll be able to follow along with our agenda tonight. Okay. Like I said, we got a pretty full meeting tonight. We got some really great guests that'll be joining us. I think you guys know one of the guests already, which I don't want to ruin the surprise. Not really a surprise because we put in the meeting announcement, but we'll get to that stuff right away here. So first things first, this Saturday is the Valley of the Sun Juneteenth festival at East Lake Park. LD11, we're going to have a table there. We're going to be there in full force. We're going to be, of course, letting people know, what we do, interfacing with our community. Also, we'll be registering voters as well. Make sure folks are registered to vote. They're all ready to go, because it's never too early to make sure that you're registered and that, you're good to go to vote, even though the election is still a little ways away. But like I said, it'll get here quick. We still have spots for folks who would like to volunteer. So we have a volunteer sign up. Well, that'll be dropped in the chat, and as also everything will be in our newsletter as well. Like I said, we have a couple of different shift options. The Juneteenth festival runs from about 5 to 10 p.m. So basically we kind of have like a 4 o'clock, like a 2-hour shift. And we just kind of do it 2 hours throughout the day. We generally don't stay pretty much past 9 o'clock. It just depends on how active it is and everything like that. But again, we'd love to have any of y'all come and join us. Again, like I said, we'll be doing voter registration. We'll be meeting the community, and it's really just a great just family event, just to get out and just enjoy the festivities. So we hope to see you there. And again, like I said, we'll drop that in the chat. Additionally, we have the Maricopa County Democrats summer convention is coming up. That is going to be Saturday, June 24th. That's going to be a virtual convention. This is open, of course, to all Democrats. In order to vote, you have to be a PC. If you're not sure if you're a PC, we need to have a conversation, because we let y'all know when you're PCs. However, if you're interested in being a PC, you can talk to our second vice chair, which I'll let him talk about that with his report. But some of the business is going to be a part of this convention. The first one is that MCDP will be voting to pass their updated bylaws, just like what we did last month, where we established bylaws, and of course we got that that passed last month. So now we have bylaws. MCDP has to make some adjustments to theirs with all the the changes and things like that, like we discussed at our last meeting. So that'll be one of the votes. Also, there is a board opening as well. So if you haven't heard, Heather Murarick, who was the past treasurer, she's stepped down from the board, so that leaves an opening. Currently is a gentleman by the name of Richard, I believe, Neilhausen. Apologize if I get his name wrong. I just met him recently, so apologize if he's on the call or he sees the video and, wonders how to mess his name up. He's currently sitting, he's been appointed to serve as treasurer, but the way it works is that he has to either, be reelected or it's open for an election. So that's also what will be happening at this convention. When I drop the link for the convention registration, if you are interested to run for treasurer, there is still time to, of course, do your due diligence in order to do that. Like I said, if you have questions, I can answer some of them. Otherwise, I can definitely refer you to Nancy Scriber, who's the county chair, if you have specific questions about the particular office or things of that nature. So yeah, that is what I have for the night, except to keep it pretty short and sweet. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass things over to our first vice chair, Dave Braun.
I'd be remiss if not reminding you that Donald Trump was indicted yesterday, which is exciting news. And I'm sure most of you have been following that in the news. So rather than spending half an hour talking about it, I won't. The only thing that I do sort of want to bring up is, for the life of me, the question I keep on asking myself is why? Why did he take all this stuff? The only thing we know for sure about Donald Trump is that he is unduly interested in money and is not shy about running whatever grift he can. I heard him say a number of times over the last few months that he was commenting about a situation with Richard Nixon, when Richard Nixon was paid for all of his personal papers and such, or the actually weren't personal papers, they were papers of the administration. But that was prior to the changes in law. And that was also because the government at the time actually seized all those documents. They seized the tapes as an element of evidence. And he sued for the money because they weren't going to give the government basically said, you're not going to get these tapes back. They're part of evidence for the various lawsuits. And at the time, there were lawsuits pending against them. Plus, there were lawsuits against probably 200 people in his administration. Anyway, just as an aside, I cannot figure out the logic why he took all this stuff. We know he likes trophies. And he always commented and showed off the paper, the love letter that he received from the North Korean dictator. But most of the stuff weren't trophy stuff. They were simply various assortments of junk. They were newspaper articles and clippings and menus and just assorted junk, and he was constantly collecting it. And after 4 years, you can collect 300 or 400 boxes of this stuff. But in between all that stuff, he was collecting numerous classified documents and top secret, memos and things of that sort. Anyway, it's just a matter of curiosity, and eventually maybe somebody will finally get from him or from somebody a realistic explanation as to why he actually was collecting all this stuff. He is going to be convicted because he refused to return the stuff. We know Joe Biden and Mike Pence had items that were collected that were top secret in the course of the documents that were moved from their offices into their personal homes or into the archives that they had set up in preparation for setting up libraries. But if Donald Trump had returned all those documents when he got the first letter, demand letter from the archives, or if he returned it even when he gotten the subpoena from the grand jury, I guarantee you the lawyers told him, return all the stuff. You won't be in trouble. There's a long history with that. The fact that he refused to do that and is insisting, contrary to wise legal advice, that he has no right to the documents means that it is probable that ultimately, if this goes to trial, he will be convicted. Now, you never know. You never know with a 12-man jury and whether some juror will simply refuse to convict, maybe a MAGA person or something of that sort. But, you know, if William Barr, his erstwhile attorney general, actually, you know, says that Donald Trump is toast, maybe Donald Trump is toast. Anyway, that's all I have. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Dave, for the updates. And I know we'll all be kind of watching this and seeing how everything plays out. So with that being said, let me go ahead and turn things over to our second vice chair, Michael Butts.
Thank you, Brother Chairman. I've got my camera off because I've got my girls running around wild in the background, so I didn't want that to be a distraction to anybody. But welcome, everybody. Thank you, Brother First Vice Chair, for that information. I wanted to just pretty much really quick just put out there the dates of June 30th. June 30th is our next social event. Go ahead and put that on your calendars, June 30th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And we will be very shortly announcing the location. We've been having some wonderful momentum at our social events, and the numbers have been increasing. We tried something a little bit different last month. We had the social event on a weekend, and we realized that, you know, I think people love their weekends, so we don't want to take away from weekends. So we will keep them on the traditional weekday like we have been in the past. And so we found that people love coming out in the midweek or that Friday or Thursday. So we're going to keep them during the day or during the weekend. I'm sorry, during the week from 5 to 7. And we look forward to seeing you all and come out and socialize with us, have fun, have some food, talk politics, and socialize. And that's all I have for right now. We've got some new precinct committee people that have just joined, and we'll be announcing those very shortly. So thank you very much. And I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, these things are a lot of fun, get to unwind, you know, and it's a really great way for folks to get to know each other, especially since, you know, we do kind of our formal meetings in this format. It's nice getting in person and doing that. So we hope to see each and every one of y'all at the upcoming social hour. All right. So somebody told me they were disappointed I didn't do this the last meeting. So, you know, I got to do this again. As you guys might be aware, there are many groups that, you know, have been important in history. You know, you've had the Beatles, you know, you've had, you know, the Rolling Stones, you've had the Temptations, you had the Jackson 5. Well, with the LD11 board, we're missing our Ringo, we're missing our Jermaine or Tito, whoever your favorite Jackson 5 is. You know, we're missing a secretary. And so if you are a PC in LD11 and you're thinking, you know what, I would love to, you know, have a little bit more responsibility in what goes on with the LD. I enjoy, you know, taking minutes and handling LD records. I also like, you know, dabbling in social media and the newsletter and the website. If you like any of those things or interested in learning some of those things, we would love to have you run for secretary. So if you are interested in doing so, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to talk about like kind of the scope of the job, things of that nature, you know, kind of what how we kind of operate as a board, and then we'll kind of go from there. So again, if y'all want me to stop doing these commercials and actually hear from a secretary, you know what to do. So That brings us to, another thing, also PCs, if you haven't done so already, please make sure that we have good information for you. We get a lot of like your information for when you apply to be a PC. And of course, when you, and especially for our elected PCs, we have those information, but sometimes that doesn't always line up. Like I know some of y'all put your burner phones on these things versus like, an actual phone number. And here's the thing is we will not sell your information to a third party or anything like that, because I think it's like against the law and some sort of campaign finance thing that we're not supposed to do. But the thing is, we do sometimes need to reach out to you directly. So if we don't have a good email or a good phone number, it makes that very difficult. So if you have your phone handy, scan this QR code. We'll drop this link as well. Keep in mind, this is for PC. So if you're not a PC, I mean, you can fill it out, but then, we'll look at it later and go like, who's that person? So again, if you haven't updated your information with us, please do so. All right, our treasurer, I don't know, is Sadia on? I know she was out of town and working her way back to the Valley. So looks like I'll be playing the role of treasurer here. So kind of do the treasurer's report and try not to do it badly so she doesn't yell at me later. Okay, so here's our monthly summary for the month of May. So treasurer report, our total incoming income for May was $185. We had expenses at about 700. Oh, that's a typo because I know I saw the report. That's not correct. So apologies on that one. But our balance ending May 1st was $2,173.39. Ending the month, we ended with $2,452.83. It's pretty obvious that I will not be running for treasurer anytime soon. All right, just looking at our income breakdown for May 1st to May 31st, pretty much our income came from our ActBlue. So that's where folks can, if you're not familiar with ActBlue, where you can make a donation online. Of course, we'll share that link in case you want to, throw some money our way. We didn't have any cash or physical money come in this month, but everything came from ActBlue. For those of you who are a reoccurring donor or donated to the LD through ActBlue, we thank you. We appreciate it. It allows us to do things like, of course, pay for our Zoom, as well as cover like the materials we're going to have at the Juneteenth event and do a lot of the things that we're going to do leading into this upcoming election. All right, when it comes to our expenses broke down to bank fees were $16, ActBlue fees $734. Our other expense was for our web hosting through Bluehost. That was about $14.99. Our Zoom, the way our Zoom renewed, we got charged twice just because during how we set it up. So this is the May and June payment. That was $31.98. Our Google domain was $39.10, which is, a lot of the tools we use to, reach out to you guys. Our email system, MailChimp, was $28.59, making our total expenses for the month $123.00. All right, again, like I said, I don't normally do the treasurer's report, but hey, we pitch in where we fit in. So again, thank you for your kind donations. Again, we are people powered, and everything we do, of course, we do based on the kind donations and the hard work of each and every one of you guys. So if you can find it within your heart to throw some money our way, like I said, we're going to use it to support Democratic candidates. We're going to help build a party infrastructure and do what we do to make sure that we're electing Democrats up and down the ballot. So we'll drop that link in the chat. Also, we encourage you to become a reoccurring donor, because just that $10 a month can help pay for our, say, signs and things that we'll be using for the upcoming campaign. So with that being said, let me go ahead and turn things over to our Sergeant at Arms, Robert Branscombe.
Good evening, LD11 Democrats. This is your Sergeant at Arms, Robert Branscombe. I'm just going to go over a couple of things that the legislature has done in this past session. They adjourned yesterday, but they had some accomplishments and some things that didn't get done. The first thing is the Rio Verde Foothills. Republican Rep. and Alexander Koldodin bill to create a new government entity that can buy and deliver water to the water-impoverished Rio Verde Foothills residents is on its way to Governor Katie Hobbs' desk. Rental tax ban. Lawmakers are trying again to get Hobbs' signature on a bill to ban cities from collecting rental tax after she vetoed a previous version. Water grants. Lawmakers passed legislation to fix an oversight in a bill from last year that meant tribal governments weren't eligible to access certain water conservation grants. Voter warning. Lawmakers sent Hobbs a bill that would require early ballot envelopes containing a warning that drop off early ballots at the last minute could delay election results. And the last one for the positive, Arizona State Hospital oversight. Lawmakers sent Hobbs a bill to create a governing board overseeing the Arizona State Hospital rather than having it under the Department of Health Services. Some of the things that they didn't get a chance to get to or finish. Housing. Lawmakers left town without accomplishing any meaning reform of affordable housing after Republican Senator Steve Kaiser could not get a majority of his fellow Republicans in the House or Senate to get on board. Support from the majority party has become a new standard for whether bills receive votes. Another one, homeless camps. Republican defectors in the House killed a bill that would have forced cities to clear out homeless encampments or else provide toilets, portable water, and shower. And the last one, Prop 400. Technically, a Prop 400 extension should be in the did accomplish category, but since Republican lawmakers did not send a plan to Hobbs, as the Republic reports, but it's so certain that received a veto that it's going on the didn't accomplish list. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Robert. Okay, so before we get into some additional business here, I want to give an opportunity. I see some of our elected officials that are on the call, so I'm going to go ahead and start with our state representative, Representative Marcelina Quinones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. LD 11, it's wonderful to be in the room where it happens. It's wonderful to be with the best LD in all of Arizona. So hope you're all doing well. I want to pick up on a couple of the things that our Sergeant at Arms talked about. We did work Monday and Tuesday of this week, and now we are adjourned until July 31st, or until the Speaker and the President give us 24 hours warning to return. In regards to the Prop 400 bill that was passed, what's bad about that bill is that Senate President Mr. Warren Peterson does not want to include any form of light rail on the version of Prop 400. Prop 400 is the half-cent sales tax that has been passed in Arizona since 1986, and then again in 2004. And Senate President Peterson doesn't want to include any light rail. So what they did is they divided the question in two, meaning that voters would have to vote on extending the half-cent sales tax and then extending another 0.4 something sales tax to include the light rail. So in other words, what they're trying to do is make it really difficult for public transportation to continue. As our Sergeant at Arms mentioned, it's going to go to the governor. She's going to veto it. She's been really adamant about the type of Prop 400 that she wants to have, and that's one that addresses our freeways, our arterial roads, and public transportation. So that'll get vetoed. I want to touch really quickly. I apologize for not being able to attend last month's meeting, but really quickly, we were able to get a bipartisan budget to the governor that includes over $300 million on the educational base. Also, we passed the aggregate expenditure limit, which means that our school districts can spend that money. And then also a victory for our entire caucus and group is that we were able to pass over $200 million in housing dollars. So 150 of that is going to the housing trust fund. And then we have several $1 million going to homeless, unsheltered individuals. And this is straight out of Senator Miranda from our own LD. And then finally, $5 million for military housing. So those are some celebrations to continue. Moving forward, if there's anything that I can do as your state rep to be a voice, to be an advocate for our district, please let me know. I've taken a few calls, and I hope that those individuals that have called me can always attest to how responsive I try to be. So hope you're well. And then if there's anything else that I can do to be of support, please let me know.
All right, thank you, Representative Quinones. All right, let me see who else we got on the caller. I see Signa Oliver, Phoenix Union board member.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Representative Quinones and the state legislature for passing that aggregate spending limit. We're gonna spend it all. Anyway, we're gonna, I just want to give a quick update. If you did or did not know, on June the 1st, Phoenix Union took the step to pass a safety plan. It did include 6 regional resource officers, is what we're going to call them. And it's a step in the right direction for making our campuses stay safe. I know that there are other school districts that told me that they were waiting to see what we were going to do to determine what they were going to do. So that's the first step. It's an initial plan. It's something that the school can work with to make everybody safe on campuses. But we will continue to watch it and do more things to enhance it as the time goes by. So that is off our plate, and maybe we can talk about, academic achievement or something, that deals with schools now that that's over. But thank you, LD11. It's good to see my fam here, and I'll send it back to our chairman.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so let's get into our special guests here. We've got folks here. We got 2 special guests. We're going to start off with our first special guest for the night. We have an individual by the name of Ricky Spann. He is with Healthcare Rising Arizona. And just to give you a little bit of background on Mr. Spann here. He is a disabled veteran, former Army officer, and Lieutenant Colonel, he's a Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Army Ranger with over 30 years of experience as a soldier and a Department of Defense employee and contractor. He's held numerous leadership and command positions throughout his career. Also, he's an educator, a community activist, politician, former chairman of the board of a 501c3 organization, and political activist. He has several degrees and certificates from the following institutions: DeVry University, Keller School of Business, MBA Project Management, Strayer University, Atlanta, Georgia, University of Phoenix, Eastern Michigan University, with a degree in political science. So Ricky's going to be giving us some information about what's going on with Healthcare Rising. So, Mr. Spann, the floor is yours.
Good evening, LD11. As the chairman said, I'm Rick Spann. I'm a Healthcare Rising member. I joined in 2019. I moved to Arizona from San Diego in 2019. And I was attending a rally, a Healthcare for All rally, and they came up to me and recruited me about, certain initiatives they was working. So I've been a member since then. I'm also a member of LD25. I'm the first vice chair, and so I'm real active in the community. So a little bit about Healthcare Rising. It's a group of healthcare workers, patients, community members who believe in creating more affordable, accessible healthcare and given by respected and valued caregivers. So anyone can join, and so they I'm an example of how anyone can join. I don't have a healthcare background, but I'm also a Healthcare Rising ambassador. And what we do as ambassadors, we speak with potential candidates that are seeking our endorsement. We also meet with state, local, and national officials to seek their support for our initiatives. We attend rallies. We support multiple causes. I've seen most of you all out on the on the rally trail and campaign trail, so I see you all out. A couple of faces I know. I know Robert Branscombe. He and I are fraternity brothers. Now, one of the things that we do, we collect signatures for the ballot initiatives. If you ever done that, it takes about 500,000 signatures to get an initiative on the ballot. And we normally try to collect about 700,000-800,000 because they'll throw most of them out. They have to be vetted and those kind of things. But what we did, we partnered with this group called RIP Medical Debt Group. And what they did, that for every 100,000 signatures we got, they would cancel debt of some of the people that we signed up, and they would pick them randomly. People would put in, they have debt. So that was one of the initiatives and incentives that we use to try to get more people to sign and to get into this medical debt relief. So last year we did a ballot initiative around medical debt. So I hope most of you are familiar with that, and it passed. So what that was is that with the medical debt, people were losing their homes, their cars, and bank accounts. So we had the state legislators put a cap on the interest rate that they could charge for medical debt. So it was some absorbent amount, but we got it capped at a low figure. And also your property, that they could take your house, but we got the property value that. So up to about $400,000 of your house is protected, and about I forgot how much of your car is protected, but it's more protected than it was. So, I've worked with them, and on the last two initiatives, one of which we got passed, I just mentioned, and the other one was stop surprise billing. A lot of you all had, got billings, and you think you paid off the doc.
Hey, Rick, we lost your mic here. We lost your audio.
Okay, am I back on?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, so every year we try to come up with a different initiative and things to work on. So we're trying to chip away at this healthcare field. So what we want to get to eventually is healthcare for all, but we're taking baby steps. We're using the crawl, walk, run approach. So this year, what we're trying to do, and we have it in with our lawyers, certain ballot initiatives that we want to announce in the next couple of months. Once the lawyers vet it, make sure everything, dot the T's and cross the I's, then we'll announce it. And we also want to try to, reduce the cost of EpiPens, inhalers, and those kind of things that a lot of, especially being in the Valley, a lot of people have asthma and all kinds of different little allergies. So we're trying to get those things reduced. Now, when you become a member of Healthcare Rising, just like at the LD and PC level, we do training, we do storytelling, we do phone banking, we do canvassing. So we're trying to recruit more people, and all busy people have multiple hats. So I feel you all on that. So, but we need your help in standing up against Big Pharma, because most of the healthcare costs are by Big Pharma and corporate hospitals and all that, because most of our hospitals are privatized. Now, some of us old guys remember when we had public housing, public hospitals. So now we're trying to recruit, and this is just something that we want to do. I'm going to put in the chat box for those people that want to sign up and help. I'll put the information in the chat box of how you could, click on the link, sign up, and join the effort. And we need all the help we could get, just like the chairman said, help wanted. So I'm going to put it in the chat box. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Other than that, that was my pitch for Healthcare Rising.
All right, thank you, Rick, for the work that you do. Do you have some time to take a few questions?
I do.
Yeah, so I think the first question is, I know you kind of mentioned this and kind of what you were telling us about, but I know folks are really appreciative of the work you guys did to get your previous ballot initiative passed. For people who want to get petitions for like the next initiative or stuff like that, how can they go by doing that?
So what we're going to do at all the events, like if you all post events, you can contact me. We'll come and set up a table, and we'll work with every event. We're trying to build a coalition of all activists, so that when you have an event, invite us out. We'll send myself or some of the other members out. And then if you can't get to those events, just go to that link and sign up, and they'll get to me or my supervisor, and we'll get back to you.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much. Again, like I said, the work you guys are doing is amazing. It's helping a lot of people. And, I can remember when, hospitals were, like I said, they were county hospitals. They were public hospitals. And now, with the privatization, a lot of things have changed, and not always for the best. So appreciate the hard work you guys are doing.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
All right. Take care.
All right, so now we'll move on to our next guest. This person probably doesn't need an introduction, but we do introductions, so he's going to get one anyway. Secretary of State Adrian Fontes is a proud Arizona native and honorable veteran of the United States Marine Corps and a father of 3 daughters who has spent a lifetime fighting for justice and defending our democracy. Adrian served as on active duty from 1992 to 1996 and was nominated for a Emeritus Commission. His service to our country taught him the importance of dedication, discipline, and sacrifice to forcefully fight for the American dream. After graduating from law school, Adrian spent his career advocating for justice and fighting for those who are disadvantaged, first as a prosecutor with the Denver District Attorney and then at the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. He later led the International Prosecution Unit at the Arizona Attorney General's Office, and he's practiced law for 15 years before running for office in 2016 when he was elected Maricopa County Recorder. As recorder, Adrian revolutionized the election system by ensuring that every eligible Arizonan had the access they needed to vote. Adrian enhanced the ballot tracking technology and increased process transparency, winning recognition and awards from election organizers across the country. In 2020, at the height of the COVID-19 crisis and amid violent protests, Maricopa County saw record voter turnout, as well as record numbers of new voters registered for both parties. Adrian later testified before Congress to inform them of the threats facing election officials. Adrian Fontes will stand up to the lies. He is committed to preserving integrity in our elections, increasing transparency in the Secretary of State's office, making voting easier for registered voters, and ensuring that Arizona's business community has a partner in the Secretary's office. During these challenging times, Adrian Fontes is a steady bipartisan candidate with the certifications, experience, and dedication to the Constitution that is needed to the job as Arizona's Secretary of State. One thing that's not on there, he's an amazing mariachi singer. So I'm just doing like an edit because, you know, I'm the chair and I can just say random stuff. So with that being said, I'm going to hand the floor over to our Secretary of State, Mr. Adrian Fontes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and hello, everyone. My apologies. I think I was supposed to be on about 10 or 12 minutes ago, but I want to share a little bit of personal news with you. You'll see this really weird white thing behind me right here, hanging on the window. That's the hoop for the dress that my middle child will be wearing for her quinceañera this weekend. And we've been doing some planning and stuff, so I apologize. But anyway, we got all of that out of the way, and I was like, everybody get out of here. I got to do a call. So listen, let me give you a quick update on what's happening at the Secretary's office and how things look, what we're working on. But before I do that, I want to say thank you. Thank you to so many of you. I was looking real quick on this call, and there's just a bunch of people who've been, you know, supporting me in my endeavors for a long time. And I could not be more grateful for the honor to be no, I don't have the dress here. The dress is somewhere else. That hoop was for practicing waltz dance. You guys, seriously. The king says, like, we're done with talking about that. Sorry. Anyway, y'all, it's humbling, really. And being able to do the things that we're doing and being able to build the team that I've built is just an honor and a privilege. And I cannot imagine what the state of Arizona's election administration would be had you all not worked so hard to help me get elected. And to do as well as we did, because we knocked it out of the park with this campaign and all of our support from folks like you. Keep up the good work. We've got a lot of work to do. 2024 is literally right around the corner, and we've got a lot of Democrats we need to elect across the entire state. So let's get moving on that. Okay, so the office, big achievements. We have probably one of the single best election administration teams ever assembled at the Secretary of State's office. The Assistant Secretary of State was my chief deputy at the County Recorder's Office. The election director was the first executive director of the Clean Elections Commission. She represented all 15 counties in courtrooms when she was working at Maricopa County. She's the only lawyer in the state who's represented all 15 counties on both sides of the courtroom in a variety of different litigation in trial court and appellate court. She also worked at Pinal County and Yavapai County before coming to the Secretary of State's office. Her assistant, the deputy state election director, is Lisa Mara of Cochise County fame. She just was the one who won that fight with the Board of Supervisors down there. And so we've got her talent at our disposal. Amy Chan, former election director for the state of Arizona under Secretary Ken Bennett, is now my general counsel. Tonya Tunnell was at the Arizona Association of County Officials, and then she was at Maricopa County as a state and federal compliance officer. She went to Runbeck Election Systems. Now, Runbeck is the printer who supports 23 different states worth of jurisdictions and all of Arizona in printing envelopes and ballots and all that stuff. So we've got a team, and there's more. There's a lot more. I'll stop there. We've got a team that is so well equipped to help across the state that I'm just incredibly proud of them. And that's given me the opportunity to do a lot more stuff that I'll talk about in a minute. But this is the first time since Jim Shumway was the Secretary of State that we've got an election administrator sitting in this office, someone who's actually run elections before. And I'll tell you, in visiting the counties, they're so grateful that we've got their back, that we understand what they're going through. We know them, we understand them. And it couldn't have come at a better time because look, 11 out of our 15 counties have lost senior election officials, either a director or a recorder or both in the last couple of years. 11 out of 15. That's an enormous brain drain. Apache County, totally new crew. Pinal County, totally new crew. Santa Cruz County, totally new crew. Significant changes in Yavapai County, in Cochise County. All across the state, real significant changes. La Paz County is losing their election director if he hasn't moved already. So look, we're ready to train up our elections officials training in Phoenix for 3 days, started this week. We go to Flagstaff next week, Tucson the following week, and then we've got another section back in Phoenix later on this summer and a catch up in December. We're training these folks to make sure they're good to go and helping coordinate. The Yavapai County recorder is actually sending 2 people for 3 days up to St. John's to help out Apache County with what they're doing and help transition their new people in. We've got just heroes all over the state doing mission critical work, getting themselves up for success for all of Arizona's voters. And I can tell you this level of coordination would never have happened without getting us into office and making sure we've got a conscientious team of professionals to actually make this stuff happen. I'm super excited about it. Moving forward, what are we planning on doing? Well, the elections procedures manual is going very well. The process has so far included a lot of stakeholders. The legislature knows what's up. The Attorney General knows what's up. The governor's office knows what's up. We're communicating across the board, and we expect a smooth transition into that EPM. Public comment will happen in, I believe, August, and we will be opening up a little bit more access for more folks to see what's happening here real soon. I'm super excited. So if anybody's interested in seeing more, hearing more about that process, let me know. This year, we did it a little differently. Usually the secretary drafts the whole thing and then plops it down on everyone, which is a pain because, that's anywhere between 450 to 550 pages to look over all at once in like a week and a half period. We've been doing it short section by short section so that the folks out there in the state who actually have to use this can study it bit by bit, move into the comments, and then be an intelligent part of the conversation to set this thing up. It is their rule book for running elections in Arizona, after all, and we're making it better for them, the election administrators, because they're the ones that are the primary audience for this. Moving into some of the other areas, we have finished, and we are in production on some of the new sections of our business services on Arizona's Business One Stop. Business One Stop is a website that pulls together assets and resources from the Department of Revenue, the Corporation Commission, other parts of the Department of Administration, licensing agencies, and the Secretary of State's office. What does that mean? That means if you want to start a business, if you're getting ready to make your business plan and figure out how to file your documents and all that, you'll be able to. Once it's done, we're in phase 1. Business One Stop will be able to support that happening on one website. You don't have to go chasing around to a whole bunch of different agencies and figure out if you need this or if you need that. It's going to be on one website. We are supporting that effort significantly. You've probably heard it advertised if you listen to NPR, because they put a whole bunch of money into advertising for it, which is great. But some of our parts include notaries public. They include certification of foreign corporations for that direct foreign investment that we need in Arizona, and a whole bunch of other pieces, trademark and trade name, things of this nature. And so speaking of that, our new business services director, our new IT director, and our new CISO, Arizona finally has a chief information security officer for elections. We didn't have that before. His Michael Moore, I stole him back from Maricopa County, where I hired him to be the CISO down there. That was the first election office in the United States of America to have an elections CISO directly dedicated to that effort. And I thought it was important enough then. I think it's important enough now. He's been acting sort of as the state CISO for a little while. So we're going to bring him over to the Secretary of State's office to make that happen. And so, look, things are looking really, really good. You know, we may not have gotten the budget that we wanted, but we've got the budget that we've got, and we're going to do as well as we can with it. We've got a great team of folks across the entire state. I'm excited to answer any questions you guys have in a minute here, so I'll wrap. I'll give you a chance to prepare to ask. But the bottom line is this. Arizona's elections have had a couple of hiccups in the last several years, and we may still again in the future. But for the most part, and I'm talking about 96, 97% of what happens in Arizona's elections is phenomenal. And we don't have any widespread voter fraud. All of the stuff we've been seeing and revelations about the cyber ninjas and how they even knew that what they were doing was bullshit, that's all come out. And we knew that it would in the end. So I'm very glad that Karen Phan's folly has been exposed for the complete fraud and waste of money that it was. I hope at some point she is held accountable, and the other folks who promoted this thing and wasted literally millions of Arizona taxpayer dollars on a lie, I hope they're held accountable too. And I will continue to fight as hard as I can to make sure that we preserve and protect our democracy. So, Mr. Chair, I leave it to you how much time I've got for questions. I'd love to hang out as long as you let me. But if you want to read a couple off to me, or if people want to just ask directly, I'm more than happy to hang out for another minute or so.
Yeah, let's do some questions. So folks, if you got some questions for Secretary Fontes, please unmute and ask away.
I'm surprised Esther's not peppering me with questions.
I know. I'm looking at Dave too. It's like you always have questions. All right, Esther, go ahead.
Hey, the only delay was that I couldn't find the unmute button.
What's
Adrian,
cooking, Esther? Yes, ma'am.
are you going to have what you had that one time, like stations at the universities for the students to vote? Do you remember you had those voting sites at ASU, and the opposite party was upset that people were bringing them pizza and soda so they could stay in line? I thought that was wonderful. Are you going to have that again?
Yeah, well, thanks for that question, Esther. You know, the great thing about Arizona's elections is that it is completely bottom up, and that's also the not so great thing. So sitting at the top, I am not actually the chief administrator of elections. That belongs to the counties. I'm the chief regulator. So when I was the county recorder, yeah, we did the polling places. We did the direct training of all our poll workers. We did all that direct recruitment and stuff. And it was a joy to be able to support the students on those campuses the way that we did. And it wasn't just ASU, we did MCC, we did some others as well. But I have faith, you know, Stephen Richer may be on the other side of the aisle, but he's done relatively well, and he's a pretty earnest guy. So, you know, I think we're going to be okay in that area. I still give him a hard time once in a while for being a Republican and campaigning as dirty as he did against me. But you know what? Life's a little too short to not give him some grief. I will say this, though, just to be really, really clear. We're going to be encouraging as much participation as possible with younger voters. And here's the great thing. We've seen a trend over the last, particularly, I want to say, not the last four, maybe the last 3 cycles for sure, of a significant increase, or at least a sustained increase in the number of voters 35 and younger, so 18 to 35, that have really been coming out. And Gen Z is pissed. They're mad.
Oh, really?
And they really, really are not happy with the political circumstances and the situation out there. So Don't think for 1 second that we're not going to again see long lines at and near university campus voting centers, not just here in Maricopa County, but around the state. And so we're going to be encouraging as many of those young people to vote as early as possible so that we can chase the rest of them later. And speaking of, I'll just put this last plug in on this question. The critical component here is voting early. We've got to get our people to vote early, every single chance we get. Because if you've got 100 voters in your precinct that you're responsible for, if you can get 20 of them to vote in the first week, guess what? You've only got 80 left for the next 3 weeks. And if you can get another 30 of them to vote in the next week, you're only down to 50, right? You don't want to be chasing 80 or 85 voters on election day. You want to be chasing as few as possible. So let's whatever our plans are, early voting has to be a critical component of those plans. Thank you for that, Esther. It's always wonderful to chat with you. I can't wait to give you a big hug one of these days soon.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right. Any other questions for Secretary Fontes?
I have a question.
All right, Chester, go ahead.
Yeah, Adrian, you mentioned earlier the holding accountable of the people who paid the cyber ninjas.
Yep.
Do you know what efforts, if any, are actually being undertaken at this point?
No, I don't actually. I'd love to see more information on this. And frankly, more is developing. I mean, if you look at the last set of reporting that came out, oh man, I want to say late last week, Chester, we saw some really damning text messages where Doug Logan, the guy who's in charge of the cyber ninjas, was just like, let's just throw some numbers out there. We're off, but let's do as good, and they couldn't tally everything. And they were off by just so much. I mean, it was just a mess. It was a total mess. Some of them are still in office. I mean, Senator Peterson, Warren Peterson, the Senate president, had something to do with it. Karen Phan's not there anymore, but the question of accountability really begs the second part of the question is accountability. Yes. What does that look like at the end? I think we got to, wait and see what else comes out. If there was any malfeasance, if there was any backdoor dealings, some of that evidence is still to be had. So I don't know that I have a complete answer to your question. It's a great question, and it's something that I'm motivated towards answering, but I don't have an answer yet. So I'm hoping that this will develop quickly, but we'll see. It's been a while, but I think we should rather get it right than quick. And accountability, I hope, will come. I just don't know what it's going to look like.
Fair enough.
All right. All right, Secretary Fontes, we got a question from Lindsay Barentine. Is there a plan in place to combat the misinformation regarding early voting or mail-in ballots?
Yeah, it's the same plan that we executed during my campaign, and it's just calling it out when you see it. Look, let's not be shy about this, and I won't be. My direct attack against Mark Finchem was the kind of hard-hitting messaging that Arizonans responded to. I got almost as many votes as Mark Kelly did statewide. In fact, I beat Mark Kelly in Maricopa County, and that's because we went for the jugular. I threw punches. I called Mark Finchem a fascist and an oath keeper and an anti-Semite because that's what he was. And too often, I'll just say this, too often we hear and see Democrats backing down. We see them trying to be kind and genteel, and we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. That's bullshit. These guys ran an armed insurrection against our Capitol. They don't get any quarter from me. They have been lying and trying to destroy our democracy in favor of an autocrat. They don't get any quarter from me. And so when it comes to fighting against misinformation and disinformation, the plan is attack them every time you hear them. Every minute of every day, be unapologetic about the fact that we have the truth on our side. We have the civic faith in our fellow citizens who ran these elections on our side, and we are not going to be kind to them. And a lot of times we hear in Democrats, we want to be nice, we care about people's feelings and all this other kinds of stuff. Yeah, that's great when we're governing. But this is not the time for that sort of genteel attitude. They're trying to destroy our democracy. And some of us just want to be polite. That's not how this works anymore. They have taken the gloves off against the institutions that protect every single one of us. They've bastardized the courts at the highest level. You've seen what Governor Hobbs has had to do, vetoing so much of the garbage that they've been throwing up there just because. I mean, heck, they don't even care about the truth so much as they'll throw evidence out, as quote unquote evidence out there. They'll put somebody up to testify, bald-faced lies, even if it costs them a seat. Because Jennifer Harrison used to be in the State House of Representatives. And she brought someone out that just flat out lied. And they didn't just lie about me. They didn't just lie about the governor. They lied about the speaker. They lied about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So why should we be nice to these guys? We should not. And so what's the plan? Attack. Attack them. Do not give them anywhere to hide. Make them shake, make them quiver, make them regret the fact that they are Trump sycophants and members of that cult. Every single chance you get. Do not back down. And that's how we're going to get rid of these guys. That's how we're going to back them into the corner and make them think twice. Because that's the only language that they understand is the language of confidence. Well, we need to speak confidently and stop qualifying the fact that we're right. Stop pretending like, oh, we don't want to, hurt their feelings. They want to kill our democracy. I don't care about their feelings. And you know what? If that comes across as a little rough, fine, tough. But I'm not going to back down. And I don't think any of us should at all. Not in this fight.
Well, thank you, Mr. Secretary. I really appreciate that because my father was also a major in the Marine Corps. So thank you for your service and everything that you're doing. And I think what you just said for a lot of us resonates because the opposite side has pulled out ammunition that violates every single ounce of ethics that exists. And with you in your position and the current legislature, we've got some work to do, but I'm really happy to hear about your stance and your plan. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And Semper Fi to the old man if he's still around. Well, even if he's not.
He is. He's in Colorado. Semper Fi.
Good.
All right, we'll take one more question for Secretary Fontes. So it's going to be hard to top what he just said. So if you got a good one, this is the time to bring it.
Are you challenging them or me?
I just throw the gauntlet down for everybody.
Secretary, can we get just one little few notes of a song? That's all we want.
Notes of a song. Is that Cigna asking that question?
Of course it's me.
Oh, for God's sakes. Hey, so I've been working on I don't know. Maybe I will. Marcelino, you got any suggestions?
I think you should do the classic. I think you should go to Volver Volver.
Hey, there it is.
All right. So, este amor apasionado anda todo alborotado por volver. Voy camino a la locura y aunque todo me tortura, sé querer. Nos dejamos hace tiempo, pero se llegó el momento de perder. Tú tenías mucha razón. Le hago caso al corazón y me muero por volver. All right, I'll leave it there, everybody. Thanks for the work that you're gonna do. Register those voters. Get them voting early. Organize. We can win this thing. Give Marcelino Quiñones a majority so that he can make things happen over there. Give Katie Hobbs a majority in that House and that Senate, y'all. Let's do it all over the state. Thank you for everything that you do. And thanks for all the support over the years, everybody. Love you all. Have a great evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair. You guys take care.
All right. Thank you, Secretary Fontes.
Thank
Wow.
you.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm like super excited. I was like tired going into this meeting. So yeah. All right. What other LDs can you go to where we can wrap up this portion of the meeting with Mariachi? So yeah. All right. So a little bit of a few more pieces of business and we'll go ahead and call it a night. We're actually in our announcement section of the meeting. So if any of you guys have any announcements, anything for the good of the order, you got 1 minute. If you can do a 1 minute song, that's fine too. But like I said, keep under a minute. Anything for the good of the order, please go ahead and unmute and make your announcement.
Hi, Chair. This is Raquel Teran. I wanted to announce that I moved to LD 11. So I'm here, of course, like as a candidate for Congress, but also as a fellow LD 11 member. And I already signed my PC form. I know my light gets after my light. I already signed up with my PC form, and so did Eddie. So you can count on us. Next election, we'll get elected to be an official PC. And I'm running for Congress, and I hope to count with your support. Later, I will reach out to make sure that we have a little bit more time to talk about the campaign. But thank you, and this was a great meeting.
All right, well, Raquel, welcome to the neighborhood. All right, any other questions, or not questions, announcements? Okay, announcements going once, announcements going twice. All right, want to thank all of you guys for coming out tonight. One thing I do want to say is next month, July, we're actually going to take what we like to call our LD11 summer vacation. Traditionally, when we have in a non-election year, LD11 typically we just kind of don't do a meeting in July. People are traveling, get a little bit of a break, things of that nature. So now that we have bylaws, I got to give you guys like a 30-day notice. So this is your official 30-day notice that we will not have a meeting on July. We'll be back in August, and a little bit rested and ready to finish the rest of the year strong. So with that being said, I want to thank all you guys for coming out tonight. I want to thank all of our great guests for coming out. Great questions, great energy. Also, Sunday is Father's Day. So for all the dads out there, all the granddads, uncles, stand-in fathers, stepdads, however you look at it, you're loved, you're appreciated, and in everybody, speaking for myself as well as a dad, enjoy your day, whatever it looks like, hitting the grill, getting a nap on the couch, watching a game, or just spending time with family. So with that being said, have a good night, everybody, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.